Okay.
Thank you, robot lady. Let's go.
So, yeah, we were talking about like first. That's another thought of mine that I think first we need to learn about compassion, and we need to go through hardship to be able to expand ourselves. To not be like, that's like necessary, like Zen, yin and yang, like you need both of them. Like first go through like I think this must be the case for raising good humans in a way, like who cares about everything else, that like raise them compassionate, put them that feeling in them, the right, and then just make them go through some hardships that just show them it's not, because if you just give compassion, people just just become like what's called like like when you just too much give to a baby and just make them like
I'm not sure what you're
spoon, like fit them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like yeah, feeding them with a silver spoon. Yeah. Do you know what? I should know it, but I don't really. Sorry.
Okay. So like basically if you just do that to a human all their lives, they wouldn't turn to be really compassionate and radiate the compassion, because they will just, okay, like they're giving me this and I just don't need to do anything else. But if they go through hardships, then they can start radiating the compassion, just realize it. So at least that's my theory, like first compassion, then some difficulties. If there is first like difficulties, maybe people will not be able to. And anyway, like that's like it makes sense to me. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I think those things would be building blocks. It's not like it's a hard, fast rule.
Yeah.
But you could definitely see patterns. You do see patterns. The kind of people who are outspokenly vegan do often have some similarities in their background.
Yes, exactly. Like they say like enough is enough. Enough is enough in a way. Those people just say, first they saw some compassion, they know this is the truth, and that they live difficulties, and at some point they have to say enough is enough. And I think that's when just explosion of compassion that was given to them happens at that point. Yeah. And okay, what else? Like we didn't talk what we need to talk about. Did I just talk? I thought about like we need to be anti-technology too. But by the way, okay, let me show you my shirt. It is reverse, right?
Oh yeah, I can read this. Can
you read it?
Yeah. I got you. Civilization is an accumulation of false solutions.
Yeah. So that is basically derived from my documentary, and like before me, many other people, obviously they came up with this, that like this is false solutions, that we are doing something very wrong, but no one, they're not listening to those guys. They're not debunking them. They're not listening to them, and this is very confusing. This is really confusing. Like as I said, you need to justify what if you are like, let's say if even we are unsure, if even like neutral, we don't know if the technology is good or bad, right? But we know that nature works. So from precautionary principle, we need to be careful with technology, right? We are not. We are just assuming.
No, of course.
And this is like, it is unjustified. Who justified? Like, show me the scientific paper that said we need to do this. Can anyone find some scientific paper that's saying like science is good and we need to pursue and improve technology, and that it will be good for us, or like sustainable for us? Like there are no justification for what we are doing. Like we say we are scientific, we are logical people, and we are basing our actions and decisions on science and something, but find me a scientific paper that says using science is okay, like the best, or like using technology is good, and
Yeah.
there are no such. You see the loophole there?
Well, yeah, but it's kind of an unfalsifiable position because we are in a world of technology, and so for most people, it's hard to imagine the alternatives, and it's the same way with a lot of societies as well, isn't it? You know, everyone people brought up in a democracy run by capitalism, it's so hard to imagine anything else working because this
Yes,
is all we know. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? It's not that it's a good argument that it does work. It's
It's
just
just
that
they have been
it's a
born into
ignorance.
this.
It's a lack of knowledge.
They have been born into this. That's the
Hmm.
only thing they know. Just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
I was saying, I have been born into eating animal products.
yeah.
That's like the normal. I can't just go vegan or something. Like the change that is necessary. That
Hmm.
um, it is. There is no. I think like there is no other reason than the addiction, the habit that we already did this, and we know that this solves our problems in the short term. And that's the only reason I think. Like there is no justification for keeping this, for going for a long term, in the long term. And okay, they know that this is like fossil fuels like causing climate change, right? This is bad. Get rid of fossil fuels. That was the base of our energy infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
like since 300 years or so. So this is basically what we have built our lifestyle on.
Yeah.
They're saying this is bad. So people don't get this clue that if maybe what we are basing all this on is bad, maybe this whole thing is bad, right? Because they can't just accept this. It's very difficult. Imagine whole lifestyle change. It's like, and suffering, mass suffering, basically. Many, like, we can't support this huge population, human population, without these technologies. We need to go back in a way, saying that this was a mistake, extracting from. Now they say, okay, let's find the alternatives. Wind, solar, nuclear, all of them have their own problems, and these problems are so serious that, let's say, with renewables, wind and solar, they're intermittent. They need storage systems, and when you add the storage, batteries or different technologies to store this energy, to get rid of the fluctuating supply, then
Yeah.
you face huge problems. And it is basically reducing the efficiency so low that you can't support this kind of civilization anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just have the free, like this kind of lifestyle is not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't go to people and say, you know what, you need to reduce your populations, or you need to get rid of this lifestyle. You need to like live minimalist, like those hippies, they just, most people despise. They say they're lazy, whatever, but they got something right. I think that they just saw that this system is suicidal. It's not good. And I think they got that right. They were not necessarily vegan, but yeah, at least they got this technological part right, I think. And if vegans don't realize that it comes, okay, let's come back to this thing, that should we separate these two messages, veganism and technology? If we separate them and just, okay, world became vegan and not anti-technology, still we have the 6 mass extinction. Going, like, the whole world going vegan wouldn't stop the 6 mass extinction. And the world would be plant-based anyway. If not vegan, the world will turn plant-based, because we are running out of resources. We are depleting our soils, our fresh water, and the most efficient way of producing food is basically plant-based.
Yeah, of course.
So within like 20, 30 years, we have to, like, the world will become plant-based. And that's, especially with the climate change, that it's not an argument. So like they say like, I will never be like, I will not give up my steak or something. Like maybe you will not, but like your kid will, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
not sustainable, you know.
Or you might not give it up willingly, but
Yeah,
you might well be forced to change because you won't be able to afford meat.
exactly,
It won't be available to you, kind of thing.
exactly.
Hmm.
So that's another clue for me, that saying um, the nature is again correcting. Nature always get rid of unsustainable things.
Hmm.
It has, she has her own wisdom, just saying this is not working, this is wrong. So
Hmm.
whenever I want to feel powerful in a way, I say nature is on my side. I am nature
Sure.
basically, but nature is on my side because I seek for harmony and she is seeking for harmony too. That's all. That's the whole picture. And it's not a coincidence that vegans are more in line with environmental issues and animal exploitation and health, our own health, and
Hmm.
all kinds of things. It's not a chance that all these issues show in the same direction. It's in the direction of harmony. And I
Yeah.
think when vegans realize this concept of harmony, not just from an emotional point of looking at an animal and this is suffering, just thinking why I am finding this wrong,
Hmm.
and see that this is basically, there is a direction of harmony that we should go through, that we go
Hmm.
towards. And when they realize, I think most people will basically turn anti-technology and say like this is wrong and we are just destroying. It's like an awakening
Yeah.
of saying there is a bigger harmony that I need to fit in. It's not
Hmm.
just with animals, but it's about with everything, every connection we have, that it should be harmonious. And when we realize this, if we don't realize this, we will basically not exist for too long. If you just become even vegan and keep consuming the way, like if we just change about like animal exploitation, get rid of animal exploitation, but
Mm.
everything else is the same, basically we will not be able to survive for too long, or we can delay it a little bit more. But this is, I think, the necessary message. And separating veganism and anti-technology and just presenting just veganism and keeping the anti-technology because people are addicted and they will not give up, it doesn't do any good, I think. Like,
Okay.
this is necessary. This has to be brought out of the box to
Hmm.
people, to just show them like this is not enough. It's like giving up salt but keeping eating burgers all the time. You will maybe that delay 5 years, we will live 5 years more, but you will
Hmm.
still have heart attack or something like that. It's like that's my position. That's my philosophy, whole lifestyle.
And I can see it because certainly when I went vegan, it was only the animals I was concerned with, and my list of concerns has only grown the longer
Yeah,
I've been vegan,
it's
because
like
I
magic.
realized the connections,
Yeah.
environmentalism and humanitarianism and all of these things. Um, I wouldn't have foreseen that I would have started caring about, but you just find yourself going down that path because it aligns. So,
Isn't it surprising? Like it's like magic, right? So you just
hmm,
start with in the direction, and everything you discover points
hmm,
in the same direction. What's the probability of that? Like it is really like magic, because you pick up the harmony and
hmm.
you follow it, and more things come, and you feel this is right. And it's
Yeah,
like the vegan experience in a way that the vegans say usually you don't need to make up things because the facts are on your side,
hmm,
right? Like don't just tell things as they are, don't exaggerate or something, because basically
hmm.
we are really walking the right path, definitely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's interesting. I do wonder how much my thoughts will have changed in the future, but it goes back to the beginning point of how you deliver that message, and like I said, how my own views have changed. I wonder if they would have had I been told from the beginning, or if they change because of people just proliferating vegan spaces with these other ideas. And I guess I don't know the answer to that. And I guess that's what, you know, that's what you're always trying to well, that's what you would love to know the answer to, is what is ultimately the quickest and most efficient way to get people down that.
Yeah, I mean, the once like this is basically, my mind again works statistically in extremes, and when there is a disruption happening, you shouldn't be expecting to turn back to the harmony anytime soon. So any option you choose would be basically involve more suffering than when you were in harmony. So like it's very difficult to choose the you know that harmony was the best way. That's, you know, but once it is disrupted, you just, it is so almost, yeah, like return, how to go back to this harmony, like how to swim in the same river. You know, this thing, like they say like you can't swim in the same river a second time because it's already like changed, the water passed already. And
Yeah,
it's the same thing, that basically you can't just turn back to what you were, but at least you can maybe hope that you can make some decisions to get close to that. You know, there were no domestication, and wildlife were like living wild. And you know, there was a study like now 96% of the mammals, terrestrial mammals, are basically livestock and humans, and just 4% wildlife. This wasn't the case, and this is wrong. And you know, you just want to turn back to that situation, that where there was more harmony. And but going back to that situation, you need to, it's very difficult. You can, in some cases it's easy. Let's say you can drop some things. Let's say you can think, okay, there were no domestication, so I'm against all domestication, then I'm vegan. That's it. And or like there were no hunting, and I'm vegan. And there were that, then it comes to a point that you need to question your own existence and justify. You say like, okay, the house wasn't existing. Should I be like living here? Should I just commit suicide? What about my dog or cats? Like I need to give them some forms of animal products, although they are like vegan dog food, but they're expensive here in my country where I live. And even I can't even find vegan food in restaurants when I go. I cook at home. And you know, in some regions, people just, they're not much vegans. Face to face, I just met one real vegan, as far as I know.
Oh, okay.
So like even my student at university. So that's the only person I told is a vegan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and like face to face.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so how can, like, where do you start then? What kind of path you take? Okay, you live minimalist, consume less. Other people will populate, make more children, and you know, take over. Is it the solution? They will, if you consume less, they will consume more. Right? I mean, what's the right path? And it's very difficult, really, to just, the only thing you know is we have to get rid of this thing. You know, this is wrong, and this is
not working.
Yeah, it's not working. We have to get rid of this thing. And I think this must be the focus, because all the other like paths is so complex. Let's say we can say, okay, let's get rid of, like, turn the world plant-based, and free up to 76% of the agricultural land, free them up. How can we ensure that this will be rewilded and reforested? I
Yeah.
think I think it will not, because we are in an energy crisis, and
Mhm.
I think in 20 years or so it's coming. That's why the oil prices are going up, the fossil fuels, because the energy return on investment, basically you can check it out that is increasing exponentially for fossil fuels, that is non-renewable resources, and renewable resources are not much at to like they have very low energy return on investment. So basically, we don't have any alternatives that can be
Yeah.
implemented, and nuclear energy is very dangerous if we want to scale it up many times. You can say, okay, we had like one accident in 10 years, one accident in 20 years. Imagine scaling up the nuclear energy in like thousands times.
Yeah.
You will have, they were predicting that one Fukushima level accident every month, something like that. So this is
Yeah.
so there are no viable alternatives that we can just substitute this whole thing. And basically they will just want to use the land for energy crops too. This 76% freed up land. I don't think that this system will just, who is hungry for energy, will just let this reforest.
No, yeah, of
When, when,
course. That's
when that,
what we like to imagine,
imagine,
but
but
yeah.
like when that happened, that they're still cutting down the Amazon rainforest, the most biodiverse terrestrial land out there. They don't care about. They're just still cutting down just for animal products. Well,
Mhm.
it's just that is so easily substitutable. Just there are alternatives, plant-based alternatives. Imagine what they will do, what they can do when there are no viable alternatives like energy infrastructure, like energy resource. I think
Mhm.
they will just basically, that's why I'm saying, like, if you go vegan, don't imagine that this 76% of the land is just free to reforest it. It's not. It will be used, it will be exploited, and basically supply more energy, and that energy will be used to exploit more things. And it's
Yeah.
like crazy, like um,
I fully understand what you're saying, and that yeah, it's not addressing the real problem, just one problem, not the main problem.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like there are so many problems rooting from the same branch. Instead of
Mhm.
cutting the whole tree, you're just cutting
Yeah.
a branch and saying, okay, everything's okay. It's not. It's just a branch.
Yeah.
Important branch, but just a branch again.
I hear you. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to say? How much? What was the time that we have left? Is that
On this one, I don't know. It hasn't told me anything about how long this one will stay open for. But we have talked for a while. I'm not going to lie. I don't feel like I've added very much, but I have taken away quite a bit. And I've had a lot to think about going away from this. But yeah, I don't feel like I had a lot to add to the discussion. So I'm sorry about that.
No, I mean, you have added a lot because like you are basically reflecting what other vegans might think, in a way, like building up, like showing me like, okay, let's say I know this, but to have discussion with you
Yeah.
is basically you challenging me. Okay, I think this, I think that, and explain me in like further enables topic to expand, and like content creation in a way,
Yeah.
in more detail, because I don't have I can only guess what others can think, but as long as they don't write some comments or just try to debunk it or just tell me their opinions, I can't just guess what are their opinions or something. So when there's discussion, these issues arise, and just I can address, or we can just discuss and just say, I don't know about this that much. And, it's always good to talk.
That's good. Yeah, no, I'm glad. I appreciate it, like these discussions as well. Even though, yeah, I do feel like I didn't bring a lot. I get what you're saying, and that, yeah, it's great for you to have that experience to learn and like build upon your own thoughts. You don't
Yeah.
need me to bring much else to the table.
Yeah.
You can still counter what I'm saying. So yeah, it's been good for me. I do want to catch up with you when I've had more time to think and see
Hmm.
what I maybe agree more on, or what I think of that I maybe like, hey, no, we didn't talk about this and I hadn't thought about this.
Yeah.
So that will be, I'll get back to you at some point with,
That's very good.
secondary thoughts.
Yeah, actually, that's my whole goal. Like, make
Mhm.
people discuss about these things. Like,
Yeah.
because I know this is like even like veganism. When you just put out veganism, um, you want people to discuss even negatively or something, that raising awareness, because eventually those people who are receptive will
Mhm.
get it, will get the
Yeah.
message, and they will just come to the right conclusion. And there are almost no discussions about this. Like, they just, everyone like acts as everything is okay. They just go and have some money and just getting paid, find jobs. Did you just justify this whole thing? You can
Mhm.
justify you're going to a job by having a salary, or you can just justify going to education system by having some information. But like in the big picture, and just, did you just justify all these things, like why you are doing this? Or it's not
Mhm.
justified at all.
It doesn't occur to people to do so, does it? So
Yeah,
that's the
and
thing.
that's the question that I'm trying to
Abs-
raise. Can you justify this? Like, what
mhm.
the whole thing, not just what you're doing here, but not just local, but the whole thing. And
Mhm.
they can't, because most people are not um, raised to think about that. They
Yeah.
just, they just say, okay, this is the situation. I will be the best in this. I will learn this. That you are just presenting me this information. But why? You know,
Mhm.
what are the consequences or the
Mhm.
unintended consequences? They don't know it. And yeah,
That's why I loved seeing your live stream when I turned on my computer the other day, because the title of the video was like, how do you justify your
just
existence? And I
yeah,
was like, that's spicy right there. That's
yeah,
something that no one asked themselves
yeah,
ever. So I clicked that within like as quick as you like. I was like, I need to jump in on that one and see, see what's being said and
yeah.
see what I
Can,
can say. So that was fun.
can this be the most difficult question ever asked?
Yeah.
Like, maybe I should apply to like Guinness World Records, like the
Mhm.
most difficult question that has ever been asked. How can you justify your existence?
Because it's quite uncomfortable as well.
Yeah,
Or at least I find it to be quite an uncomfortable question.
yeah,
I was really thinking on the words. A lot of times when I talk to people, I'll just blurt out my opinion, and then
yeah.
if it was wrong, they change my mind. But with that question in particular, I found myself thinking carefully about what I was saying, because yeah, it was deep, man.
I'm still struggling with it. Just justifying, because like you need to um yeah, I kind of justify it, that it's like I'm we talk about the direction of harmony, so I'm just pushing
Mhm.
different people in this direction. That's
Absolutely.
my justification. But like,
Yeah.
if I didn't do that, I couldn't justify. That's why I am doing it. It's like life is forcing me. If you want to exist in a meaning, because I'm like meaning oriented person, always I was like, and they say like, I say to myself, if you're not doing this, basically you don't deserve to exist in a way. Like, you
Mhm.
are taking away more than you give. It's
Mhm.
not good. It's not okay. This feels wrong. I have
Yeah.
to do this. I have. It's no choice at all to me,
Mhm.
for me. Yeah. And any other things that you want to add for like maybe like next 5 minutes or so?
Um,
It's it's yours. Take it, and yeah.
I don't know really. Yeah, because I just feel a little bit like I've just learned a lot about your position. So I'm at this moment in time, I don't have a lot
Okay.
to like add on to it. So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'll kick
So,
myself when we close the recording or whatever. But yeah, for right now, I can't think of anything.
okay. So definitely, then there will be a like part two of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then there will be a part two of this talk, and I would love it. You can read about there's like Ted Kaczynski's manifesto, when I realized after one second. My animals. So yeah, so like after I have realized that something is wrong, and this that you just can't find a solution to this mess, I have researched and came up with really like there are very few good resources about that, and I found out that a good place to start is basically Theodore John Kaczynski. He's a Unabomber terrorist, domestic terrorist in USA. But just don't say he's a terrorist and just dismiss the ideas. Read the manifesto, and you would really. The first beginning can be like uncomfortable at first read, because he basically criticizes left movement, left and right, all these political ideologies, whatever. But okay, you can go through that. I find some truth to that, and after that, it's basically just criticizing technology. And when I was like reading, I said, yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think. That's what I will say. Okay, that's like, I just felt like a twin, like a soulmate in a way. They were saying, yeah, I thought about these, like these concerns. I had these too. Now that and at some point he said, like we produce more problems than we solve, something like that.
Right.
And I said, like, there are people coming to this conclusion, and before him there were other people coming to the same conclusion as well. Like, we are not the first one. Maybe many like other people that we just never heard of before doing this research came to the same conclusion. But this is maybe the most oppressed information, because it's quite dangerous for the system. It has to like keep it hidden. So yeah, you can just check them out, read, and then we can have another discussion.
I will do. I just, whilst you were saying it, I was just opening some tabs on that. So I've got a little bit further reading to do. Whilst what you were saying about the uncomfortable, it did make one book pop into my head that I'd like to know if you'd read at all, which was the book called A Declaration of War by just seeing here, by Screaming Wolf.
No.
Let me tell you the subtitle of this book. The subtitle is Killing People to Save Animals and the Environment.
Okay.
I think that is a book that is, it would be, you don't have to read it all, but you can see it for free online. I would love for you to
have you read it?
Just even for yourself. I have read it. Just even for yourself. You wouldn't have to discuss it with me. Read this book and see what you make of it. There are people who are of the opinion that this book is not even it's fiction. It's not written by someone who is a vegan or an animal rights activist, but it's written to make vegan and animal rights activists seem dangerous. And I could see that being true. I could also see it being true that it is written by someone who this is their opinion, but it's an incredibly interesting read. And I highly recommend it.
I read it because it's like so parallel. And there was like
exactly,
Ukrainian terrorist who just kidnapped some people in the bus in Ukraine. It was in Ukraine, right? Like, and I was defending the guy because I was saying, like, he didn't harm anyone, but he raised awareness about that. And look at the whole outcome. It's okay because, yeah, I mean, just because someone just does something threatening, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Look, we must look at the outcome. Like, to me, the outcomes matter. And yeah, I mean, that's really like a good, I think I definitely next few days
check it out for sure, because it's definitely got a lot of parallels with anti-tech. It's certainly, there was one chapter that was like, it was like you can't call yourself vegan and justify the existence of cars. There's lots of
Yeah,
interesting
I
stuff. There's
agree with
lots of
that.
stuff in there that you'll
Okay.
enjoy reading for sure.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Like, I enjoy that book. As far as I can say, even like the who. Sorry, I just forgot the most famous activist name. Gary
Oh,
Yurovsky
okay, yeah, yeah.
just said that he's okay with just going with guns to
Mm,
slaughterhouses and say, drop your weapons or I will kill you. He just said this is okay to do, because I
mhm,
think the same, because you are basically um, against something that is destroying something. There is already ongoing slaughter, and when you come to prevent it, you are in the right side in a way, because
yeah.
so yeah,
It's
that's
very uncomfortable, but it's very interesting, these
yeah,
topics. So
yeah. Okay, so let's end our talk here, and thank you very much for joining. And I think this was very interesting. I think many people can just um, have at least we made them think about these issues, which is I think the most important part, because everyone will find their own ways
mhm.
themselves. And yeah, and I will just read that. I'm going to read this book now actually.
Do it, do it.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting one, and a lot of people haven't heard of it. But everyone that reads it
No,
finds some kind of strong opinion to have on it. So it's a great book to like discuss with
maybe
people as well.
it sounds like this is the book that I'm just trying to. Maybe this is another book like this manifesto of Ted Kaczynski, that this is what I was trying to say. Like
Mm.
the umbrella that if you are vegan, you should also have these ideals, like these, you know, you should
That's
go towards that direction.
mhm.
I think it would be such a book. That's why I'm very interested in it.
Check it out and let me know what you think.
Okay. Okay. So see you in the future and talk to
Mhm.
you again. See you on YouTube comments and
Yeah,
Facebook.
absolutely. And thanks for inviting me. It's been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah,
So
no problem. My pleasure.
all right, cool. Take care, man. Have a
You
good one.
too.
Bye bye.